Please stop. I'm begging you. Stop it. Cut it out. That's what I find myself thinking rather often when I read stories about supporters of Trump putting their life in trusting him and having it backfire brutally so. I want to get into in a second here a video that I think perfectly exposes the scam that is Trump's meme coin, his crypto, and how it proves just how little he cares about upholding any norms or resisting any conflicts of interest. But aside from that, we will get to that. Let me just tell you a story of a man. It's really sad. He's been posting about how devastating this has been, who lost hundreds of thousands of dollars because he put over $1 million, I think it was, of his grandpa's inheritance into Trump's meme coin. So Trump launched and advertises, I'll show you, his crypto as buying into sort of the Trump team, becoming a part of Trump's team. And if you are a cultist of his, you probably think, what could go wrong? It's Trump. He's the genius. If he thinks I should invest in it, I should invest in it. And cryptos are notoriously unstable. But a meme coin that's just, the only purpose it serves is some people work in the system to take money from the people who don't understand how to work the system as much or time it wrong. And so let's go through a guy on Reddit. I'll keep him anonymous given how tragic it's turning into for him. But he posted these different, I took screenshots of a video that he posted of his holding in this Trump DJT meme coin. And starting with over $1 million. And then as it happens, he put a bunch in and then the value of the currency plummets as was expected. So you can just see him losing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Now here, the market value being $562,000 after having over $1 million there. So he then posted about, again, I feel for him, but stop doing this. Stop trusting him. But he said Trump would never do this to his supporters, but if it ends up being over, I guess it's all over. I mean, really, I have no future after this. He said he's hopeless and sort of some suicidal ideation. So absolutely tragic and losing everything. Now, it's not just his story. There were a lot of folks, probably mostly supporters of Trump's, and other people, but a lot of supporters of his wanted to buy into the Trump team. And the New York Times reports this early trader, whose identity is not known, this is referring to the one who got a bunch of money, walked away with a 2-day profit of as much as $109 million. But that comes at a cost. So a few people make a lot of money. Trump makes a lot of money, and a bunch of his supporters lose a bunch of money. But the fast profits for early traders, whose names are unknown, but some of whom appear to be based in China, came at the expense of a far larger number of slower investors who have cumulatively suffered more than $2 billion in losses after the price of the token crashed. So apparently some folks in China make a bunch of money, and then a bunch of other people, 810,000 wallets, had lost money on the bet, adding up to $2 billion being lost. A bunch of Trump supporters losing a bunch of money because they trusted in Trump or made a poor financial decision. If you have, for example, $1 million of your grandpa's inheritance, don't put that in Trump's meme coin. That when you have that money, you just put it in a nice safe investment and then you're good. As of the middle of this week, more than 810,000 wallets had lost money on the bet, according to an examination that the crypto forensics firm Chainalysis performed for the New York Times. The total losses are almost certainly much larger. The data does not include transactions that took place on a series of popular crypto marketplaces that started offering the coin only after its price had already surged. So people only going down there, whether people made or lost money. There was one person that, no matter how this turns out, made a bunch of money. It was a stellar business for the Trumps. Nearly $100 million in trading fees have flowed to the family and its partners, although most of that has not yet been cashed out, the Chainalysis data shows. So, yes, Trump's net worth technically, when this shot up. And in a sense, he became a lot wealthier. But then it crashes and he's less wealthy. But the real hard money that's being made, that's more stable, is these trading fees that raking in hundreds or at least $100 million to the Trumps. He promoted the coin on his own special platform. This is what I was referring to. As well as Elon Musk X saying, join my very special Trump community. Get your Trump now. Do you remember when on January 6th, or people defending themselves after attacking the Capitol on January 6th, some of them would say, but I was there for the president. The president told me to come there. And so I listened to the president. It's a similar thing here. When Trump says join the Trump community and buy this Trump coin, I don't think you should ever interpret that to mean $1 million being put into it. But you get, if someone's a hardcore supporter of his, they think that that means they can trust him. The chain of events is hardly surprising, several former state and federal financial regulators say. What makes the situation particularly troubling to government watchdogs and former regulators is that the Trump family is profiting from this exploitative pattern at the same time that Mr. Trump is rapidly moving to bring an abrupt end to a regulatory crackdown on crypto by several government agencies. Oh, good! Quote, the president is participating in shady crypto schemes that harm investors while at the same time appointing financial regulators who will roll back protections for victims and who may insulate him and his family from enforcement, said Corey Freyer, who recently left a post as a crypto advisor. Anyone, and then this is from ABC, including the leaders of hostile nations, can covertly buy these coins, raising the specter of uninhibited and untraceable foreign influence. That's another part of the crypto thing over the president of the United States. All while President Trump's supporters are left to shoulder the risk of investing in Trump coin and Melania coin. Oh, Melania got it on the action as well. I don't often give financial advice. So, but on this, don't do it. That's my financial advice. I'm not a financial genius, but I can tell you, just because some person in China made a lot of money doesn't mean you're going to. And who knows, this is totally speculative, but who knows the potential for insider trading going on. The meme coin also pose a conflict of interest, they write, because Trump's family members are expected to directly profit off an industry he's charged with regulating. The president nominates the chairs of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and Securities and Exchange Commission, the directors of the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, and a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that's being dismantled as we speak by Elon Musk, and the Secretary of Treasury. But don't worry, because Trump told us, if there's a conflict of interest, I'll make sure it stops. Well, there's a blatant one that he's benefiting from. And so I want to move from that. You may have heard of that story of that gentleman, that guy. It's really tragic. And I do feel for him. But please, other supporters of his, use that as proof that you can't put your trust in this guy. I don't know how long we have to learn that lesson over and over again, how many times. He doesn't care about you. He's robbing you. But here's Democratic Senator Chris Murphy breaking down the absolute scam that this is.
So Trump has done a lot of shady, self-interested shit since taking office, but I want to talk to you about the worst of the corruption, the Trump coin. This is a pure grift. Okay, so Trump coin, it's a meme coin. So it's got no independent value. Its price is just a function of demand. So if a lot of people want it because they like Donald Trump, then its price goes up. If nobody wants it, then its price plummets. So Trump launches this coin right before the inauguration. Why? because he wants to make sure that his MAGA supporters, who are like wild with enthusiasm about the inauguration, would buy up a ton of the coin at the outset. It worked. Prices jumped from 18 cents to $75 a piece. And Trump's net worth on paper, it swelled to like $56 billion. And when it fell back down, the price of the coin fell back down to $17. A ton of his supporters who bought it at the top lost actual real money. Okay, but the crash, it doesn't matter to Trump because Trump gets a transaction fee. He's made $100 million, probably a lot more, just in trading fees, while many of his supporters have lost thousands of dollars. Okay, but that's not the worst. Trump holds back 80% of the total coin. And what he's going to do is release more when prices get high again. Because in addition to the transaction fees, he gets paid on that initial release of the coin. So how does the price get high again? Well, demand goes up. And who is in the best position to buy a ton of coin to drive up the price? Foreign governments and billionaire CEOs who have business interests before the Trump administration. Now, you might say that's illegal, but it's not. Nothing prevents, like a Russian oligarch, from buying a ton of Trump coin in order to put money directly into Trump's pocket. And even worse, we will never know if the buyer is a Russian oligarch or a Saudi prince or an oil company CEO, because it's all secret. In the first minute of trading, one buyer purchased around 6 million Trump coins, sending the price through the roof. One buyer was able to send the price through the roof before that buyer sold the entire supply for a 2-day profit of more than $100 million. Reporting suggests that in this case, the buyer was probably actually coming out of, wait for it, China. When Trump cashes out, he's not doing it through a mainstream exchange. He's doing it through unregulated Chinese exchanges. Why? Because he's hiding something. Either the source of the money or the people connected to him that are getting the payments. Because on a mainstream exchange, you might have a modicum of background checks done on the cash outs. The Chinese exchanges are totally dark. So while the Trump coin may seem like some silly, hard to understand online fad, it could end up being the most fundamental corruption in the history of the presidency. It's as if Trump is posting his Venmo or his Cash App handle and inviting corporations and foreign governments to just send him cash in secret.
I mean, that's how I feel. Well, they made a whole deal of, and credit, by the way, to Democratic Senator Chris Murphy, because he's one of the few Democrats out there actually making the case on some of this stuff, and doing so effectively, logically, and level-headedly. But they made such a deal of Joe Biden and called him corrupt because his son had business interests, because his son did business in Ukraine, for example. They could never prove wrongdoing on the part of Joe Biden. But just the fact that Hunter Biden made, and I've mentioned this many times, what I perceive to be incorrect decisions, a lot of incorrect decisions. I don't think he should have even intertwined himself in certain business interests, just out of courtesy to his dad, but he did, which is not Joe Biden's fault. But they still called Joe Biden corrupt wrongly for things they couldn't prove in the connection there. And now, hear me. What they're saying is Joe Biden must be corrupt because his son maybe benefited from having a prominent name in business, as everyone with prominent names does. But okay, that means because Joe Biden now, he can't govern effectively because he's thinking of Hunter Biden's former business interests. Whatever. Not true, but okay. Then Trump has this conflict because they might say, oh, Chris Murphy can't necessarily say something wrong is going on. No, we can, because we don't have to know what it is or who it is or what's going on or if Trump's being influenced or if any foreign governments or foreign individuals or domestic individuals have an interest in influencing him through this. It's irrelevant. The fact that he would even open himself up to such a conflict of interest is so brazenly against the principles that presidents should abide by. Jimmy Carter didn't feel comfortable actively running his peanut farm because conflicts of interest could arise in money being funneled through that business. And now Trump, I think that's a great way to put it, is just putting his Venmo URL or what are those called? Those little boxes? Jane, those little squares?
QR code.
QR code, his Venmo QR code. He's just throwing that up there, practically, so that anyone can dump money into his pockets. And MAGA doesn't care. They don't care. And then, even separate from that, Trump has previously called these sorts of crypto initiatives scams. Trump has. And now he's doing it, and all that's doing is sucking money out of the pockets of people who trust him and dumping it into people who know how to game the system. And they'll look to him and they'll say, "Thank you, can I have another?" Share your thoughts in the comments. If you want to get the bonus show, you can do it. You should do it by clicking the join button below.